Okay. Well, that's a tough one. Just so everybody knows, I was the one that called the pass play. We talked about it for about 20 seconds there at the end for him to get the ball and then just throw it out of bounds. And he kind of moved a little bit, but never really even thought of, be honest with you, never thought of intentional grounding being called at that time in the game. So I told the team, I said that part's on me. Because I was the one that made that call. And as much time as we put into end of game situations, never really crossed my mind. So unfortunately, it's a difficult way to learn a hard lesson. I hate it for the team, but they played good. Their quarterback's a really good player, as I had mentioned earlier in the week. He made some key third down throws. I don't have the stats in front of me, but he was really good on third down. And we lost the running game for really 2 quarters, kind of 2.5 quarters. And we had too many 3-and-outs on offense. So our inability to stop third down passing and then really establish some run to kind of offset our game plan took us out of the game really for about 2.5 quarters. Whether they hit the big play at the end of the game or not, either way, my comments would have been the same in those areas. We've got to improve in those areas and lean a little bit more and establish some run and give our guys a chance. So that's a tough locker room to be in. College football is about Sunday through Thursday preparation and walk on Friday. So whether it's a big win or whether it's a loss that's very difficult to swallow like this one, I told them that we expect them to come back tomorrow ready to go to work. So
people addressing on social media that last play by CMU shouldn't have even been available because of the ruling in the rule books. Was that addressed with the officials at all, if that should have been a play?
Give me some more info.
According to a tweet, the quote in the NCAA rule book is a penalty is accepted by a live ball when it comes to extension of a period. The period is not extended if the foul is by the team in possession and the statement of the penalty includes loss of down, which was the case for you guys. So based on that ruling, it sounds like you guys...
we were in possession and they accepted the penalty.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I'm just trying. You said a lot of things really fast.
There's some question. The Big 12 will send something out.
Okay.
I've been in contact with them, so anything that for them to make happen, they'll come from the league office. Okay. Instead of a full reporter situation.
It's not going to. I mean, I asked the official, and they said that a penalty on the offensive team with the clock expired cannot end the game. And so that's where it came to that point, I'm guessing. Now, with what you said, I'm not sure. Either way, it was a bad decision on my part to throw the ball where we were still in the box and get the intentional grounding. And then they made a fantastic play to get to that point.
Mike, a few years ago, you guys were in a situation like this against A&M, and you handled it differently. Why did you kind of decide to go this week?
Well, we just thought it was easy, right? If it would have come across my mind that they were going to consider a tackle box, which by rule they were correct, I'm guessing, then we would have just said take 2 steps and throw. And it was just kind of too easy to do. But certainly wish I'd have done what we did down there now.
Mike, you mentioned the locker room being tough. What was the overall demeanor of the guys? Were they just as in shock as everyone else in what happened?
I think the shock wore off because of the replay. It took so long. They're upset. As I've said, I made it very clear to them what happened and whose responsibility it was. It was mine. And then they were really better than what you would think. hopefully we have our players trained where they know that unfortunately things happen and we have to recover. So disappointed, yeah, but not really shocked. And there wasn't a lot of guys complaining and throwing helmets and things like that. Really pretty squared away and pretty mature for the situation that just happened.
You mentioned the run game kind of taking a dip in those 2.5 quarters. Can you attribute that to anything specifically now where you have to watch the tape to kind of figure out what the
Almost that we might have given up on it a little early. We had a couple that we got stoned on, but not sure if it was really a fundamental part without, I have to watch tape because it's hard to see kind of what took place from where I'm at.
It's going to get lost and what happened at the end, but the decision to put in Stoner at the Wildcat quarterback there, what went into that thinking to put a true freshman in such a critical situation?
They had a lot of guys that were playing inside run, and I've mentioned this before. When you're not a pro-style team, that's the hardest yard to get, 6 inches or whatever. And so we felt like that we had to use that scheme that we had practiced. At times when you practice something, you got to use it. If not, don't practice it, and that's really what it came down to.
To have a true freshman do it too, I mean, that says a lot about Dylan Stoner, right?
Yeah, he is a true freshman, but he's a little different than most true freshmen. He's pretty savvy and been around a lot.
Rudolph seemed a little off his game, overthrowing some receivers. What do you think about his performance?
We did not throw the ball well for most of the game. It was interesting. There was times we were right on the money, and then there was times we weren't even close. There was no middle of the row. So we need to kind of look at that and figure out what happened on those plays.
Mike, before the last play happened, I was going to come down here and just ask if you felt you sensed enough progress from one week to the other, even before the last play went the way it did. Well, you tell me, do you think you guys were on the right track even before that last play?
No, that's what I said I was going to mention to you. Regardless of the poor decision I made and regardless of the great play they made at the end, we were flat. Our throwing game was very average. We might have abandoned the running game too early, and we were not very good on third down defense getting off the field. So that answers your question, right? Regardless of that, that's kind of what I was thinking prior to that.
How disappointing is that? I know a coach wants to progress. You've got some bigger and tougher games coming up the next several weeks. He'd like to feel, I take it, more secure about that. Does that disappoint you or surprise you that your guys?
I'm not disappointed. I'm disappointed in my call, and I'm disappointed that they made a great play in the end. I would have liked to have seen more progress in those areas, is what you're asking. Yes, I agree.
Mike, if the last play should not have taken place, what should happen now?
Well, I'm guessing that we win the game. I'm not sure because it's not like there was 4 seconds left and there could have been another play. I guess I need to go and read the rule. I just listened to what the officials said, but maybe I need to read it. When I listened to what he had just said, it sounded like if the team in possession takes a penalty, well, they weren't in possession, we were. So I'm not sure.
There was an expert apparently on TV that said the play should never happen. So one of those officiating experts you bring on the broadcast.
Was that an OSU person?
No.
I don't even know what to say because I don't know enough. I don't.
You guys, Gavin's with the referees right now. I don't know if we're getting anything or not. I've been in contact with the Big 12. Hopefully, they were on the phones. They were working some stuff out. Ralph Russo, if you guys follow him, the AP called you all right. Has pretty well black and white that the last play shouldn't have happened. But we're not the ones making that decision. So.
Mike, you put Amarola in there to kick that.
Excuse me?
You put Amarola in there to kick that 53-yard field goal. We watched him kick it in the spring game too. That was a lot to put on a redshirt freshman. How did you feel about that?
It's interesting. He kicked 2 50-something yarders in the spring game. And then in preseason, we had some little mock scrimmages, and he kicked 2 54-yarders. And then last week, when he kicked off, he bladed 3 of them. And so we had made a change. And then when we got to that point, Steve Hauser, our special teams coach, said he's really been kicking long field goals good. I said, you know, we have a plan in place for him. He's a long field goal guy. Might as well let him have a shot at it.
Your last possession overall, Mike, you took a knee on one down. Is this going to be one of those things where you think maybe we could have got 4 seconds there? I mean, it's hard to second guess, I know. But.
Not really, John, because I made a poor decision to throw it. Even if he would have taken a knee, I mean, you had 4 seconds left. I mean, you can, the way I look at it is like, Herm Edwards, the play he made when they handed the ball off and they stripped it and he picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. There's a chance it's more likely that can happen than what happened today. I'll be honest with you. Now, a lot of people wearing orange aren't going to feel that way. Everybody's going to be really mad at me for a long time, and I'm going to be mad at myself for a long time because I should have done a better job of preparing and thinking that through. But I'll be real honest with you, it never crossed my mind. We've practiced it before, years. We've practiced a play like that for years, and nobody ever said, hey, there's not a receiver in the area. So I wouldn't change anything we did up until we threw the ball.
Sounds like maybe you didn't even have to change that. Who knows?
Well, even if the officials handled it incorrectly, it still was a dumb call on my part, regardless.
Mike, can you process their Hail Mary I mean, it looked like that was just a pretty well executed play by them, not something your kids didn't do.
It's unbelievable. Ball traveled in the air at least 40 yards, and then to catch it and flip it accurately to a guy. I'm not sure that we played it. I don't know that we challenged it like we should have. So that's one of those situations that, we could talk about it a long time, but their quarterback stepped up and chunked it. And when he threw the ball, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was going to be short. The first thing that comes to all of our minds is just catch it and let him tackle him, and you're in good shape. And then, he punched the ball back, a big-time play.
Everybody good? We got coordinators back here already.
Good. All right, guys, thank you.